do believe my pants are on fire. Looks like my chair's on fire. Hey, welcome to Rat Rodding. My name's Waylon Wire, and don't ever do what we do here on this channel. One thing I have to do is get my body in that truck and see how much leg room, foot room there is and whatnot. It's pretty big, but I've got to see how far down I can go with it. You know, I've got to have some leg room in there. This ought to be fun. I don't care if this thing sets up a little high. After all, it is a truck, you know. That's a bit much. Boy, there is a pretty good leg room in here right now. Yeah, not too bad. It's a little tight for pedals. Headroom's good. Okay. I think I can live with that. I think I can work with that. Whew. That was a chore for an old man. It's fun though. It's all fun. It's up till somebody loses an eye. These lights have been put together at some point with Romex house wiring. I like it. If I drink beer, I'd drink beer with that guy. Precious cargo. Hello, can you go? Bottom oil pan, the bottom of the frame rail right now is 2.5 inches. And that ain't enough. We can take a look here at the Dirty Dozen. A little bit more of the mock-up. What do you think of that? Look there, we got some fenders. We got some fenders on there, and I don't like that. And some people are gonna not like it, and some people are. And there's only one person it has to please. So, it's pleasing that person right now. I like it. I'm gonna do a little bit. I'm not gonna tell you what, but I'm gonna do some more work on the front of this thing. But the big old bulky fenders, you know, they kind of need to be there. They look a little awkward right now, but they kind of need to be there to balance out the big old duals that are gonna go on the back. I need to put those duals back on just for the effect, you know, just for the look. So I can see the look. Anyway, let me see here. What was I talking about? Oh, there was a few things. Some people said I need to lower that cab, channel that cab down some more. Right now I've got it set about 4 inches up off of the frame, and it will probably sit down that 4 inches. Most likely it will sit down on the frame like it was before. I just jacked it up so I could move the whole thing around, move that engine back and forth without my clutch lever hanging up on the firewall. So that's why it's jacked up so high in the air now. But as far as it moving down any lower, no. You know what, you guys, I know it would look good, but you guys haven't been in there, and I have sat in there, and I know what kind of legroom there is in there. And if you lower it down any lower, there just won't be any legroom. Sure, I'd like to have it all the way down over that 8 inches of frame rail, but that's not going to happen because I have to have room for my little deados de pias. Yeah. But what I am going to get done tonight, maybe, let's open the door up here, take a look at things. It's cooled off enough now. Still awfully hot during the daytime. Yeah, I need to throw those duals on there. Oh, just for the look of it all, and still got a lot of welding to do, but you know, it'll happen when it happens. At any rate, what I am going to try and do tonight is go ahead and get the weight of that engine and transmission on the chassis. See, it's still sitting in that cradle. The engine's still sitting in that cradle on the little casters. And I need to have the weight. I need to have the weight of that engine and transmission on there so that I can really get the true look at my pinion angle, how that drive shaft's going to be. It's pretty short, and what the angle of that engine is going to be. I am going to degree that engine a bit because yeah, I've just got to get that pinion angle. I've got to have those U-joints line up. But I just thought I'd give you a little look at the front end of this thing. There's really not enough room in here to get it all in frame and see the whole works. But one of these days, boys and girls, we'll roll her out. Yes, sir, we'll roll her out and get a good look at it. But right now, I think I'm going to throw you guys on a tripod, and I'm going to go ahead and get the weight of that engine and transmission on there. I know what it weighs. It weighs 2,123 pounds, and I know what it drops. It drops 2 inches before I added the weight of that frame rail. Now, that frame rail is pretty heavy. It's about 400 pounds. When you add them both, both together, add them all up. So it's probably going to drop about 2.5, 3 inches, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to get the weight of that thing on the chassis and just see exactly where I'm at. And then I'm going to start degreeing that engine. I'm going to start tilting her back a little bit, a little at a time. All right, let's get busy. I got that old hoop out of here so we can get a better overall look. And people talking about having to have front license in one county and a back license in another county, and it is kind of long. But the thing is, it's 2 inches shorter. Right now, it's 2 inches shorter than that old hearse that I had. That's something. Of course, I didn't parallel park it much either, you know. I like it. Okay, in order to get the weight of the engine and transmission up on the chassis and let her down, I have to know if there's enough room with that caster on there. I would hate to cut them off, but I might not have a choice in the matter. We'll see. I might have to cut something off. Might cut, yeah, well, we'll figure that out. The engine is chained to the chassis, and I'm going to let it down for the first time. That chassis is going to sit with it's going to sit in its entirety. The engine, the transmission, the cab. The only thing lacking will be a little bobtail bed back there. And, well, maybe a winch, maybe an A-frame, you know, maybe another ton or so. Who knows? But I'm going to drop it right now and see what kind of stance that I built into that chassis. I'm curious. I just did what I thought I should do, but I don't know for sure if that's what I should have done or not. But we're gonna find out. See, we got everything in. Oh no, my well, I'll show you what's going on over here. My rear temporary cross member has failed. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Just everybody just calm down. Just calm down, everybody. See, this is kind of funny. What I'm laughing about is because there's the right way to do things, and there's Ken's way, you know. Alright, 2 3/4 inches. I had it dropping, that's just what I thought. I had it dropping 2 inches before I put those frame rails in there. And I know they weigh just short of 400 pounds. This much taken off of each 10-foot piece gives me just shy of 400 pounds per side. No, combined. So with that added weight, it drops 2 3/4 inches, and the stance is good. Now the cab is sitting horrible right now. Let me straighten it up a little bit, and then I'll back you guys up and we'll get a better look at it. Well, I'm always doing something like that. I'm always knocking the bark loose. You know, sometimes it's a handful when you got the corner of the cab in one hand, and you need to go to the other corner and put a block under there, and you can't reach it, and this is, oh, you know, I used to have an old guy come around here and help me once in a while. Can't remember his name, but his initials was Jim Kerwood, and he don't come around no more. I don't know what happened to him. He says he's going to, but he don't. So I don't know. I took a shower and everything. I don't think I smell that bad, but he don't come around. So yeah, that's just the way it is. Oh, come on, please. Please, man, please. Alright, this is going to be a while. Good despair and agony on me. The engine is sitting 6 inches too high. But I sure like the stance. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm liking that. It ain't bad. Ain't bad at all. Runs uphill as you go to the back. But the engine's not going to. The engine's not going to run downhill. I gotta start jacking up the front of that motor. And it's sitting, yeah, like I said, it's sitting 6 inches too high. It'll actually drop down to this mark right here. Will come down to this frame, so yeah, that's quite a bit. Yeah, 6 inches. Just about exactly. And then it needs to go back quite a bit. It needs to go back 4 inches. Yeah, about 4 inches. And then the front end needs to go up. Okay, I got all the blocks backed out away from that thing, and the jack out from under there, and it just makes it look a lot different, a lot cleaner and neater look. And the cab is strapped to the chassis. That's pretty much where it's going to live. It could come back. It could come back an inch, and it probably will, because I want the shortest bed possible on this thing. Oh, something I was going to show you guys. I like this, and I'm going to leave it. I like how they just welded the exhaust right to the cab, because back then you could weld on cab metal, you know. That ain't coming off of there. It didn't burn through either. It's real clean little welds. I'll have to get it in the daylight and show you. It's pretty nice. So that's staying. The back glass is going to stay. Anyway, I got the cab strapped down, and that's where it's going to go. Now I'm going to start jacking up the front of that motor. I'm going to take those bolts out of the front of that motor mount right under there and start jacking it up, and I think it's going to pivot right here. If it don't, I'll take these bolts out except for one, let it pivot there, but I think it will down there. Anyway, I'm going to start that process. But as far as the stance of the whole deal overall, I just got to get it in frame. Let me turn this camera off. I'm moving some stuff around. Alright, I got some things jockeyed around here where I can maybe get it all in frame. Most of it. Yeah, look at there. So picture this. Picture that front of that motor jacked up. Well, you're going to see it here in a minute because that's next. But as far as the stance of the whole rig overall, nailed it. I'm liking it. I'm digging it. What do you think, fellers? Yeah. What do you think, Josh? You digging it, Josh? Who would name a cat Joshua? That's terrible. That's just terrible. But I don't care enough about that cat to change it. He's just going to have to live with it. Oh, look! A squirrel! Well, it has been a lot of fun mocking this thing up, kind of seeing where the engine was kind of going to sit, and kind of seeing kind of where the cab is kind of going to sit. I got the length of the frame, and I got it extended to where it needs to be, and oh, it was all just a blast. You know, I got the duals back on there just for the full effect, you know, yeah, I just wanted to see it, just to kind of get a little bit of my vision here in reality. But it's now time to start taking care of a little business. I probably should have done first, but you know, when my ADD kicks in, sometimes I get the cart in front of the horse. That's okay. I'm having fun. I'm not hurting anybody. So I'm going to start kind of crawdadding now, going backwards a little bit, kind of go the other way, and and probably get the cab off, get the engine out of there, lift the chassis up over that engine, roll the engine out of the way once again, and then I can get my chassis picked up and get all the welding finished up on it. I've just kind of got it put together, but I don't have it welded solid yet. I don't have my fish plates on, that sort of thing. As I said earlier in a video, life kind of intervened, and I just did a lot of work around here on the property, a lot of cleaning, and you know, I spend quite a bit of time on this place just trying to make it look like somebody lives here, so people don't think it's just an abandoned old junkyard. But anyway, I've got to get that engine out there, and I've got a little bit of work to do on that engine before I run it. I don't want to run it anymore until I take care of this little issue. I've been told by a couple of guys, well, 3 or 4 guys actually, since I've had this engine, have made me aware of a PCV valve that's internal in this thing. It works kind of on a check ball type of thing, as I understand it, and I don't know where it breathes exactly. I don't know if that's the deal there. Not quite sure, but I've been told by these gentlemen who have worked on these engines and know these engines, and they've all said the same thing. They said you got to get that out of there because there's a chance that ball can, if it fails, it can fall out into the engine and do severe damage, and we don't want that. So what you have to do is get them out of here and then make these covers breathe. And I went and looked at, of course, this was a, back up here a second, this was a stationary engine. This ran an irrigation pump out in Kansas someplace, I think. But I do have two blocks out back that were engines out of trucks. They had been designated truck engines from the get-go. They had never been stationary engines, so I used the bell housing off of one of them so I could get my proper flywheel on there, my clutch flywheel, and get my clutch setup fixed in there and all that. But those engines, sure enough, I went out there and looked, and they all have little breather caps in them. What they have is all four of them breathe, and what they have is a cap like this with a little tube coming out of it, so that each one of them has a way to breathe. So I'm going to do that before I go any further with this engine. But you know, I had to get the weight of it on here. I wanted to get the weight of it on the chassis and see how much it dropped and all that. And I kind of knew what it was going to do, but now I know exactly what it's going to do, and that's all good stuff, good info. That's good intel. but I'm going to make another change to this engine. I have, in 1963, those V6s had plaid valve covers, and I happen to have 4 of them. What do you know about that? And I'm going to happen to use them. Now I'm going to have to go ahead and make the cuts in them to open them up so they'll accept those breather caps. You can see how it's stamped there, so you can, it's ready to put one in. And I'm going to put, I'll have to do 2 of them, and 2 of them will already be drilled, but that's coming up. So right now I want to go ahead and start a bit of disassembly, and before I put this cab back on, I will roll it around here and buff out that paint. That's just beautiful patina. I like it. And I may cut out that rust down there and put a panel in there. I know that don't sound like old Whalen, but you just never know. I might fix that up a little bit. But it's all fun. It's all good stuff. So let's get after it. You know, when I was a kid growing up, a lot of the men, especially the older men, carried a pocket watch. And you don't see that anymore. And then he went to wristwatches, and now they don't even do that. Everybody's got a cell phone. A few people have a watch, but I know, I think young man, Mr. Heavy Chevy's young man, I think he wears a wristwatch, which is kind of cool. But everybody just looks at their phone nowadays, or most people. But as I was saying, where I grew up, a lot of the older men, especially older men, but a lot of men wore overalls. And but regardless, overalls or not, they carried a pocket watch. But I was going to show you here on my bib here on my overalls, there's a watch pocket right there, and they'd always put the chain. Right there's I think there's a buttonhole. Yeah, and they'd attach the chain there, and then it'd hang down, and the watch would go in there, and it was kind of a cool thing, you know. I thought, and I've got a pocket watch, but I lost my chain. So I found one the other day, finally, and I've got it out here in the truck, and there it is. I'm going to, I might have to take it to a jeweler and get an input on it so they'll fit my watch and fit my bib overalls. But at least I finally got a change for my pocket watch.
Without your stepping on the gas pedal is attached to the throttle plate.
Yeah.
In order for the throttle plate to move, you've got to step on the gas, or something else has to move it. But there's nothing.
Well, that's going to be a little tougher to maneuver because I cut my handhold off there. I cut that reservoir off, and that was a good place to grab onto it. Yes, sir. Oh, one thing that helps. In the right direction. It's a little easier to take off if you've got the casket going the right direction. Okay. Let's give that a whirl. Alrighty now. Now we can do some serious welding. Oh, all over this thing. Okay, this right here is that little PCV valve. It's kind of weird that it's under the valve cover, but there it is, and sure enough, it's got a little check ball in it because you can hear it. Can you hear that? And I can see how that would be very, very bad if that dropped out into the engine. And that's what I've been told. So I'm grateful to the guys that mentioned that to me because I didn't know. I did not know that. I'm wondering if that needs to be plugged. Probably not, but because they just said to vent the valve cover. I just pulled the other one from this head, and it's a little bit different. It's got a little snap ring in here, but you can hear that check ball in there. So glad I found out about that. That would have really been a bad day if something like that ball dropped down in there. Okay, here's one in the front head that appears to be open. But the one on the other side, I'll show you here in a second. No, that's a check valve. It doesn't have a ball in it though. That's something. Yeah, it's not a ball, but it's a little pin that drops down in there. So it would work. It's still a check valve. But now on the other side, on the other head, opposite this one, they have, it looks like maybe, I don't know if they've tapped it and then put a bolt into it or just drove a bolt in there. It looks like maybe they just drilled it out and put a bolt down in there. So I don't know why they had some of them, had that one blocked and the rest of them were working. Maybe the valve was faulty and they plugged it off. That may have been the valve cover that had the cap in it so it could breathe. I will have to go back and look at the video to see if it is or not. Anyway, it's all interesting stuff to me anyway. Well guys, this video is getting really long and I'm getting tired of hearing my voice, ain't you? By the time I finish editing these videos, I'm really sick of hearing my own voice. But I got some other material, some other content that's really interesting. I ran across kind of an interesting deal a couple days ago that you need to be made aware of, and that's coming up. Maybe I'll kick out another video tomorrow. We'll see, but I think about all that's left to be said right now is, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And I guess that's it. Till next time, I do appreciate you.